Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast today. It's Bjorn, General Manager at TraVek with the Before the Hammer Strikes podcast. Excited that you guys are here again today to listen to us. We've got a great guest today. We've got Cheryl with Revolution Mortgage. Cheryl, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll get into some of the details, some of the exciting stuff that you're working on. But first, tell us about you.
Well, I'm from Arizona, so I'm a native, so I've been around, and I went to school here, went to NAU, and then I got into the mortgage industry back in 2002. So I've seen a lot of ups and downs in the valley and in the market. And then about 9 years ago, I had 3 reverse mortgages fall into my lap, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know what this was myself, and I was in the industry. So I ended up starting to work with my seniors, ended up loving working with them. And to that point, I would be at my mom's house talking on the phone, educating somebody, either a realtor or a business professional like yourself, and talking over the program. And then the next thing I know, my mom's coming to me for one. She's like, I think I need to do this. So I believe in it so much that I actually have my mom in this product. So,
Okay.
But just really quick, with Revolution Mortgage, I just want to say before we get going, we are licensed in 48 states. So this is something I can help out family members all across the states. So,
and we'll get into a little mini commercial on who Revolution Mortgage is and things like that here in a bit, because I'm sure our audience wants to know. Mm-hmm. So you grew up here in the area. Mm-hmm. You went to
Moon Valley High School. And then NAU.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then
lumberjack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not a local, but it seems like nobody's really local to Arizona anymore, so it's kind of unique to see that.
Yes.
What made you want to get into the financial sector? Like, what was it about mortgages and about financing that got you excited or made you walk down that path?
Well, my family has been in it. My brother is a contractor. My dad was a loan officer. My mom was in title. So we just kind of all fell into it. So back in 2002, I was making a career change, and I thought, what do I want to do? And I just knew that I wanted to help people with their finances.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this morning, before this podcast, I was actually just at a conference, a seminar where an economist came and spoke on everything going on right now in the economy and what the narrative is compared to the data, and just super fascinating. So I actually, early in my career, was a mortgage broker at Countrywide Home Loans.
Okay.
This was quite some time ago,
Yes.
so I'm familiar with different loan products and things like that. So I'm excited to have this conversation. What took you to Revolution Mortgage? I'm assuming that wasn't your first stop along the way.
No. I was actually a manager from my past that we had worked together a few years back, and he and I were just getting back in touch with each other, reconnecting, and just checking to see, how things were going in his world and my world. And then the more we talked, he's like, we need to have you come over here. So I decided to make the change, and I went over to Revolution.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that?
With Revolution, I just made the move this last June.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so exciting times for you.
Yes. But I've been in the industry, like I said, for 9 years. So.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right, so you're not new to the mortgage industry, but Revolution is a little bit new for you.
Correct.
We, our audience, like I said, some are homeowners, some are business owners. So this is really fun for us to be able to say, okay, well, what does this mean for a business owner or a business executive? What does this mean for a homeowner? Obviously, at TraVek, we try to provide the ultimate TraVek experience for our homeowners. And part of that, when we walk through that journey, is some people have planned to do a remodel or put a roof on their house. Others, it's a surprise, and they realize, well, shoot, I'd kind of like to get this done, or maybe they have an active leak on the roof, and they think, well, now what do I do?
Right.
Sort of a thing. And so we always like to try to provide those options. And it sounds like, based off our conversations earlier, that a reverse mortgage or other mortgage products could be a good fit for those homeowners that maybe haven't planned or haven't saved. Talk to me about that. Like, what do you run into with different homeowners as they have different needs? Specifically those that are maybe getting up there in age or that are thinking this might be their last home.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, at Revolution Mortgage, we can do all your traditional loan products, from your 30-year fix, your cash-out refis, your specialty loans.
Sure.
But for our seniors, 62 and older, who may not want to put the remodel or the roof on a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Why not let the house pay for the house?
Sure.
So if you think about it, we're living in our piggy bank.
Yeah.
So we've been putting in all these years into our piggy bank. So why not crack open the piggy bank and let the house pay for the house, whether it's a new roof, whether it's, aging in place, taking out the bathtub so we can get, walk-in showers, that type of thing. So it really helps our seniors not feel that frustration and have that peace of mind that they're not dipping into their life savings, into their IRAs or whatever. We want to keep that money under management. So we always like to say you have 3 buckets. You've got your Social Security and your pension. Then you have your IRAs and 401ks if you have those, and then you have your house. So why not break into the house, into the piggy bank, use that to fund whatever necessary remodels for aging in place that you can use. So.
Yeah. And this is an interesting concept. I share with, we have a seminar every month.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that or not, but the second Tuesday of every month, we invite the community in just to educate them on what to expect before they walk into a remodel project. Because there's a lot of things that people just don't know.
Right.
We've been doing it for a long time, so we like to share that wisdom with them a little bit. But I tell a story almost every single time in that seminar about, it's a personal story about me. I grew up small town Southern Oregon, youngest of 6, and there's a lot of boys in our family.
Okay.
There's 5 boys, right?
Okay.
We were rough on the house. We beat the heck out of it. And me being the youngest, almost immediately after I moved out of the house, my parents were at a place in their age where they were ready to remodel the house. They waited till the kids were gone. They waited until they knew somebody wasn't going to completely destroy the house.
Yeah.
But your financial landscape changes a little bit then as well, right? My dad was retired.
Right.
There were different sources of income, but it wasn't employment income that was coming in.
Correct.
Right. And
yes.
so having an opportunity then at that stage in life to now have the house that you've always wanted,
right.
Usually necessitates looking at different options on how we crack into that. And I love that you say use the house to pay for the house.
Right. Right.
Some people don't think of it like that.
Right. And it's best practice. We need to look at all the areas that people can tap into. And the main thing is just to keep that money under management with your financial advisor. And people don't realize that with a reverse mortgage, your house does not need to be free and clear. Your house, you can have a loan on it, but we're going to do some calculations based off of your age. So it finally pays to be older. So the older you are, the more access to the money you get in your equity in your house.
Yeah.
And so, even if you have a loan, sometimes we can still help you out. We'll pay off that loan. Then you won't have a mortgage payment anymore. And then you'll still possibly have a line of credit to do those extra things.
Sure.
And if not, then you have that monthly income that you were paying that you can use towards remodeling and that type of thing. So there's so many different ways to look at it.
Sure. So I've got a little bit of a controversial question for you.
Okay.
I think sometimes when people hear reverse mortgage or they think about the program, their instinct is to say, well, shoot, what about my kids? Like, I've worked hard to pay this house off.
Yeah.
I've worked hard to get into a situation where, heaven forbid, I leave this world, that I leave my kids something that's not debt. And I think that there's this mindset of, well, if I go down this reverse mortgage, I'm kind of leaving my kids in a worse spot. Help me understand that.
Yep. Big misconception. So
Okay.
first and foremost, you still own your home, whether it's in the name of your name or the name of your trust. And then when it comes to the kids, because when I talk to the adult kids, they're like, what's the catch? This sounds too good to
Sure.
be true. So basically what happens is when it has to be your primary residence, and when it's no longer your primary residence, let's say they've passed away, then the beneficiary or the kids have 2 options. They can either refinance the home into their own name, or they have up to a year with 3-month increments. They have to check in with the bank.
Sure.
And they have up to a year to grieve, to purge, and get the house ready for sale. So now when we're in a market like we are today and they sell the house here and the loan with the accrued interest is here, they pay off the reverse mortgage. They pay the closing costs and realtor fees, and whatever is left over, they get.
Right.
Now, God forbid, we have another 2008. It's a non-recourse loan, so they never pay more than the value of the house.
Okay.
So if the loan value or the loan is up here, but the value sells here, the mortgage insurance comes into play, and whatever deficit there is, that takes care of it.
Sure.
So, the mortgage insurance is a line
plays
item
a
on the
role.
closing
Yeah.
costs.
Yeah.
It is not cheap, but that once I explain all this and the adult kids understand, they're like, all right, awesome.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, so what's the catch? I said, well, the catch is maybe if you had $400,000 that you're going to get as an inheritance, maybe you get $350 because mom and dad decided to travel around the world.
Sure.
So
Okay, that's interesting. That sheds a little bit of light on that.
yeah.
What are you seeing right now in our market as far as the amount that people are borrowing, or if you think about this whole thought process of aging in place, and we run into this a ton. Like, we're doing a lot of homes right now where it's either the primary homeowner is aging in place and want to change some things about their home. They don't want to step over the top of a bathtub.
Right.
Curbless entries on showers, or what we call beach entries, are
Okay,
really
love
popular
it,
right now.
Love it, yes.
Widening hallways, putting in countertops that are, wheelchair height, things like that. We're seeing a lot of that right now. And I don't know if you're seeing that in your world, but if you are, like, what does the market look like? What are people typically using or leveraging this type of a program to do?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because what I do want to say is we do have a product that goes down to 55 years of age, but then also up to $4 million.
Oh, wow.
So I just closed on a house, $2.3 million in Santa Barbara, and she was remodeling her home
I believe
at
it.
the mid-70s.
Yeah.
So I was so excited for her, but she was able to pull the money out to remodel. She's in a historical district, so she has to do some architectural plans and that type of thing for the front, but she was remodeling her bathtub, getting ready, leveling her floors out because she had a sunken living room and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
just different things like that. So hopefully that answered your
Yeah,
question.
so you're seeing some of the same things we are,
Yes,
it sounds like.
yes.
Yeah. What else do people use a reverse mortgage for? Like, you mentioned vacations. Like,
Yes.
What are the trends? What are you seeing people leverage this tool for?
So a lot of the grandparents want to make memories with their grandkids and their children. So they're taking trips and having the time spent with them and building memories with their grandkids. We also see paying off bills.
Yeah.
We also see in-home health care. We also see another big one is, what if one spouse needs to go into memory care or assisted living? So don't drain that money under management. Let the house pay for that one spouse going into memory care or assisted living while the second spouse stays in the home.
Well, and that's interesting because, you talked about the children, and a lot of times that can be a strain on the children.
Yes.
And so, if I think about different experiences that either I've had or friends of mine have had, like having that conversation and then that planning and figuring out, well, who's going to pay for this? And,
Yes.
and at some point it can become this thing that's difficult to navigate, and it can be stressful. So that's interesting.
Well, and there's sometimes I've had adult kids that are helping supplement Social Security for their parents.
Right.
So that helps the kids not have to tap into their income and just use the house, even because eventually the house is going to go to the kids most likely.
Right.
So let's just use the house now.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So that's, yeah.
So I want to talk down this path just a little bit. And outside of reverse mortgages, just using your home as a tool in general. There's a lot of conversation right now out there about how soft the real estate market is, and nothing's really selling. Is it dangerous to start walking down this path of, well, I'm going to leverage my home as a tool for some financial things, given the state of where the market is?
No, this is
Okay.
amazing. As a matter of fact, to that point, people don't realize we've been talking about existing homes, but you can actually purchase a home with a reverse mortgage and not have a mortgage payment. So to that point, I'm going to answer your question on how you can use this as a wealth building tool.
Yeah.
So I had a lady in Scottsdale come to me. She was 66 years old, and she came from a financial advisor, and she wanted a 30-year fixed. And I said, okay, Rose, I will go over the 30-year fixed numbers with you, but I also want to show you the reverse purchase. She's like, I don't want that. And I said, okay, but let me educate you, because next year I don't want you to say to me, why didn't you tell me about that? She's like, okay, fine. So the next day she called me and she's like, I want to do that. And I said, awesome. Why? What changed? And she said, well, I was thinking about it. Instead of doing a 30-year fix, and let's say her monthly payment for the 30-year fix was $2,000. Instead of making that monthly payment, because I won't be required to do that with the reverse mortgage, I'm going to give that $2,000 to my financial advisor to invest for me.
Wow.
Right? So it's just opening your mind up to different
thinking
ideas.
outside the box like that to leverage. I mean, we always hear that your home can be your biggest financial tool to be able to create opportunities with different revenue streams coming in for you.
Yes.
And I think it's probably an under-leveraged tool for a lot of people.
Absolutely. So misunderstood.
Yeah.
And, that's why I'm just getting out there and explaining all this and the myths and educating and that type of thing.
So this is one tool that people can use. I had an analyst on our show a couple of weeks back.
Okay.
And we were talking about the market and what it looks like and comparatively what it has historically looked like compared to today. And one thing that she was mentioning is, you think about the real estate market currently and all the talk and all the hubbub around what's going on. And she had mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. I want to get your perspective on it. You think about back 1983, 82, 83, and what the programs were that were out there that were available to home buyers. And there's, loan assumptions. There's all of these different things tools that we haven't had to use in the last 20 or 30 years.
Right.
Right. And now with the market the way that it is and the real estate community the way that it is, one thing that she was communicating was, well, some of these programs that have just kind of been on the shelf for a while that nobody's even looked at are now or should now be tools that mortgage brokers and mortgage companies should be dusting off, bringing off the shelf and providing to these homeowners or potential homeowners to say, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? It's not what you've seen for the last 30 years, but the tools available.
Correct.
Are you seeing some of that in your day-to-day?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, what people don't realize is this is an $18 trillion. There's $18 trillion in equity out there. But also what people need to understand, whether it's business professionals, referral partners, or homeowners, is that you want to work with a reverse mortgage specialist that knows this product, because you don't want just some loan officer dusting it off the shelf and say, yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
Because nobody's going to like each other at the end of the process. As a matter of fact, I was at a networking event and I had a loan officer that I worked with in the past. He came running up to me. He's like, Cheryl, you can do all my reverse mortgages. Everybody hated everybody at the end of the process. And I'm like, okay, so it's a different animal.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that you're working with somebody who's been there, done that. I have so many different people that I've helped, different scenarios, even to the point of hoarding situations.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen a lot.
Believe it or not, we've seen all of that in our business as well.
Yes,
from
so
hoarders to all different types
so
of...
I figured that's why I brought that one up, that you probably have seen that as well. So, yep. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, that's good context, because, even though the programs exist, doesn't mean that everybody should be using the programs.
No, or the loan officer shouldn't be.
And that's what I mean.
Yes, okay.
Not every loan officer should grab that and use it if they don't know how to use it.
Correct.
So we've been talking a lot about the homeowner and what the benefits are and things like that. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about businesses and some of the business leaders that are listening and that are hearing this. You may think, well, this is great for homeowners, but what does that mean for my business? And we've implemented in our business different options as far as financing and ability for people to get roofs or get remodels done that maybe they couldn't in the past. I heard a great phrase that said, people will use cash for the things that they need and they'll leverage financing for the things they want.
Interesting.
And we've seen that to be true in our business. If we go out on a roof and there's an active leak, they're going to pull the $5,000 out of the bank and say, well, I got to get this leak fixed.
Right.
Now, they may want to get their whole roof done.
Right.
But they don't have the money in the bank to do the whole roof.
Right.
Now, if there's an option in front of them, like financing or leveraging your home and saying, hey, but what if? Like, if you had access to this, Would you get your whole roof done? Well, absolutely, because I don't want to worry about a leak next month or the month after.
Yes.
And we see the same thing on the remodeling side. People will set money aside and they'll say, well, I want to do a $100,000 remodel. And then they start doing product selection and they start seeing all the beautiful things and the what ifs. And they walk into our showroom and they're like, I want that kitchen.
Right.
I say, well, that kitchen isn't a $100,000 kitchen.
Right.
So there's a gap there. And so being able to offer that gap has been really helpful for us as a business to say, hey, there's tools available that if you leverage them, you can get what you want, not only what you need, but you can get what you want and still be in a good position. And so if we're talking to business owners, and for us, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
For other business owners, as they're running their business and they're operating their business and they're trying to provide options, what's the benefit to them to have a conversation with somebody like you or to leverage those tools out there?
Well, the first thing, and maybe I've said it, but I want to reiterate, is that by doing this product, they're not making a monthly mortgage payment. So just a little basics. When you have a mortgage, your balance is going down every month, but when you have a reverse, we pay off that mortgage and then it's going up in reverse.
Sure.
So to that point, like if we're talking businesses like a tile person or cabinets, is that what you're referring
any
to?
business owner. Like if I could be in software, I could be, every business is selling something to an end consumer, and that consumer either has the money or they have to find the money.
Right.
So for a business owner, how does that change how you go to market or how you talk to your customers?
Right.
Like, what does it open up?
Well, it just will open the door to the client's mind that there are options out there. I brought up cabinets and tiles, but let me just say in-home healthcare. What if mom is sitting here and the in-home healthcare person, and they're just having a conversation, and mom is saying, I wish I could hire you for 20 more hours a week.
Yeah.
And the caretaker's like, but you can. You're living in your piggy bank. Talk to my office. We're going to set you up to talk to Cheryl. Now that just opened the door for that in-home health care to provide 40 hours of service to that client.
Yeah.
With CPAs, they see, people are living check to check, and then people are in $1 million homes that use this product. Financial advisors, keeping money under management.
Yeah.
With realtors, it's, champagne taste, beer budget.
Yeah.
So in the market where we're in, if somebody just sold their house and they have $600,000 to spend, but they're finding a house for $850, we can help them do that with the reverse purchase. So I'm hoping that answered your question a little bit.
Yeah, and you form those partnerships with businesses?
Absolutely, yes.
So because you can be a resource to the business owner or leader.
Yes, and to that point, what I like to do when I find people that I like to have as a referral partner, I also in my packet, because when I do a scenario with a client, I will go to them if they're local and I will sit down with them. And in that book, when I have my referral partners, I have their information in there too, because I want to give back. If they're referring, I want to be able to give back. And so, because I have had people say, I don't like this person I'm working with. Who do you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm able to give them resources as well. So it's nice.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I mean, again, we think that any tools that we can provide to our customers are great tools if it makes sense for them.
Yes.
And so I think other business owners can appreciate that as well. And other business leaders, as they're looking at, you think about the business side of things and what's the fastest speed to lead, and then once there's a lead, what's the fastest speed to contract? And a lot of times if there's a waiting period there where it's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get the money or how I'm going to afford it. I know I want it. I know I need it. I'm going to have to take some time here. That can affect business levels. So on that point, what is the speed to funds in this type of a program?
So and I tell my clients that I'll work as fast as you do. So I've closed people in little less than 21 days.
Wow.
Even on a purchase.
And that's to funding?
Correct.
Okay.
But then I've also had people take their time.
Sure.
And so I've had some longer clients, but they've had some situations where they just needed more time.
Right.
Or they needed to do a repair on their house. Sometimes we're able to do that repair after closing, but sometimes they had to do some things prior.
Yeah.
But typically we like to say 30 to 45 days, but we have done it in less time.
And is that on a purchase, or that's if I'm already in my home?
if they're already in their home, we can still get it done within 30 days because you have that 3-day right of rescission for a refinance. So.
Okay.
But they
but
do
the
have to
process
do-
isn't faster if I already own the home than it would be if I used it to purchase a home.
It's about the same.
It's about the same.
So
Okay.
the very most important thing is that not only do they talk to me, but then we also have them do a third-party counseling. And so that's the biggest hurdle to get the clients to do. It's just like, get that counseling done. And once they get it done,
Nobody
it's
wants
good
to
for
sit down with
6
a
months.
counselor.
But it's over the phone, and it's just 45 minutes to an hour. People think they're talking to an underwriter. I'm like, no, it's someone like me.
Yeah.
And they just want to make sure that you understand you don't have to make a payment, but you are responsible for your property taxes, your homeowner's
Sure.
insurance, your HOA, and then the costs and that type of thing. So it's just because we do this every day, our jobs,
It becomes normal.
but they are hearing this for the first and second time. So they just want to make sure they know. So
That makes sense.
we work as fast as the client does. And I always give kudos to my clients. I'm like, you're my A+ borrower. You're doing great with all your stuff. So,
awesome.
and the paperwork is minimal that they have to do for the loan. Your IDs and
Sure.
that type of thing. But it's very minimal. So I
Okay.
try to do less paperwork for them. And I will help them however I can to help them get that. So.
Okay. Now, with a lot of loan products, you think about debt to income ratios. How does that play a role with reverse mortgages?
We
Because
don't do
it
that.
seems like it's totally different, right?
It totally is different.
Okay.
Based off of residual income. And we do not look at credit score so much as we look at, so I have people in the 500s, I have people in the 800s.
Right.
But we look at a 2-year look back to make sure that they've been paying their property taxes and homeowners insurance and HOA on time.
It's all about history and then equity,
Yes.
I'm assuming.
And then we just want to make sure that whatever their income is, that they have so much left over at the end of the month. I actually qualified somebody on $800 a month.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
so it really is to protect the senior and keep them in their home to age them in place.
Yeah, amazing. So we're coming to the end of our time, and it's been awesome.
Great.
Just so that I can share with our audience if they've enjoyed this, and I hope that they have. But where do they find you? How can they get in contact with you if they want to either form a partnership or they're thinking, well, shoot, maybe I could look into this reverse mortgage thing?
Excellent. So I'll have a website. It's my email address, which would be the best, which would be CherylS@revolutionmortgage.com. My website address is a little difficult to say
we'll
over
throw it in the video.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, awesome. But they can reach you by email. That's the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Or my phone number is 480-225-7111.
Excellent.
Easy
Well,
enough.
Cheryl, this has been really great. Thank you for being on the show with us. And
Absolutely.
hopefully you guys have appreciated having her on the show. I know it's a little bit different than what we typically talk about, but again, it all applies. And the more we can educate, the more we can inform you guys, the better. And so hopefully you've enjoyed this resource. Again, thank you for always joining us and hearing our guests and learning with us and knowing everything you need to know before the hammer strikes. We'll see you guys again next week. And again, thank you for being a part of this.